Could you see a place for Dom Brandt and Simmons in the back row?
See, that's a good shout. And I think the whole back row recipe has been ripped up a little bit since Australia started playing around with having 2 sevens as a 7 and 8 or a 6 and a 7, where you're just looking to get the 3 best players on. The thing you need with the back row, again, as you know more than anyone, is that balance. And I think if you've got both Dom Brandt and Simmons, then whoever plays in that third position is going to have to be an out-and-out workhorse. You're not going to see him like your Richard Hill type, where they're just going to be head in the bottom of the ruck, which again I think you can look at. I'm disappointed not to see Earl in that squad, because I think he's a real exciting player. But again, applying the law of what I just mentioned, who do you drop in terms of bringing Earl in? So I do think they can play together. I do think there'll then be a big emphasis on the graft of the other player involved.
What do you think he's going to do with a halfback?
Well, I know we had a bit of a chat before about this, and for me, I think you've got someone like Farrell in the wings who can always step up as a 10 if Smith, if indeed doesn't take to it as we hope he does. I think the thing Smith needs, as he's shown for Harlequins, is experience either side of him. And when you've got Danny Kerr on one side and a get-out clause of a 17.5 stone, 6'5" South African on your right, you're always going to go pretty well. So that balance is more important in terms of the 10 slot. And I like to see what Quirk can do, throw him in, knowing you've got Ben Youngs as that stalwart alongside him. The concept of Ben Youngs playing in the next World Cup is another big conversation, because that's a long time away, and 23 games on top of his already 109 caps put him way ahead of the experience bracket. But I'd like to see youth employed at this point. And Quirk and Smith, why not? Why not have a go?
Well, if you do that, presumably Farrell will play 12. So you've got the experienced shout outside him and a secondary playmaker. But if you do that, then I think you have to have Tuilagi for someone to for Farrell to ship on, because Farrell's not traditionally a ball carrier. He's a distributor, and the lines Tuilagi can cut, either getting the ball or for fixing defenders, should create momentum and space outside him. Because people can't drift.
I agree with that. I mean, Marc Atkinson, I'd love to talk about this more, because I actually played against Marc Atkinson way back in the Champo, and was like, this guy...
I was going to say, where's he been?
His quality. Well, he's been around the block. He got canned from a couple of Prem teams. Sale got rid of him a while back. He actually flourished at Bedford, where he was standout player of the Championship. And then all of a sudden, he started playing games more for Gloucester, and that's when he got noticed. But his skill set's the same. He is a phenomenal rugby player. But he's 31. And again, when you start talking about where his journey is, it's amazing what's been, but what's to come. So Eddie Jones has put him in there for a reason. Could it be to look at him being the ally alongside Marcus Smith, to be that secondary distributor, and with him being a big physical presence, to also perhaps cart it up and offload? Because his offloading skills are magnificent.
Well, I'd like to see them, trying that as a matter of course. I mean, the thing is, it's a risky strategy. In tighter defences in internationals, it's less likely to come off, but it is the only thing that you can guarantee creates mayhem. And if you get good enough finishes on the end of it, it should create try-scoring chances, because you simply can't defend them.
I guess 10's the one big conversation. The other one's a bit of gnarl up front, and I'd be remiss not to ask your opinion on the hooker scenario, because I can't understand why Jamie George would have been dismissed initially, because he's someone who's sat patiently behind Dylan Hartley for God knows how many games. 59 caps he's on presently, and then suddenly the young pups come around with Blamire and Dolly. You're thinking, what is Jamie George's mindset at the moment now after being cast away?
Well, I'll tell you what it is. You've seen him. He's been belligerent. And he's scoring tries, and he's slamming the ball down when he does it. He's angry. And that's exactly what Jones wanted. I'm absolutely certain. I'm pretty sure, certainly Mako Vunipola and Billy Vunipola, if he is on song, will be back at some point in and around the squad, because they've got so much experience, and we know what they can do, and we know how they can play if they are playing well, but they haven't done for about 18 months. And it's as simple as this. I think he's got an all to get really pissed off and angry, and I think you're seeing that. They're playing with a belligerence that we haven't seen, for a while, and it's quite capable. And I always said this: look, you just say to them, "This is an experimental squad, but you haven't played well, so you got to fight your way back in." They'll know that, and he's having the effect. The only time that I got replaced during my career, I was so angry. I played 3 games wanting to kill people, and it does work. So we haven't seen. And the irony is, Jamie George is now back in because Luke Cowan, and I'm sure he'll start. By the way,
yeah,
I'm sure he'll start, and he should start, because He's the best of them out there. You can bring people on from the bench. Is there anything else? Look, who do you like to see at fullback? Because we've tried so many people at fullback, and
I'm a big fan of Malins, and I know he's kind of got that utility tag and played on the wing a little bit as well. But actually, fantastic rugby player. Since I've saw him play under 20s, he's so gifted, ball in hand. Mark McCall said he flourished with that year away when he went to Bristol, and he was a catalyst for them as well. Imagine playing along the likes of Piatow in training is going to benefit him as well longer term. But I think he's a fantastic player. He is that quintessential English fullback you have in mind when you think about the guile of past appearances. I think he's got that wonderful confidence, ball in hand, and he's probably learnt a lot of that from good alongside him, who's been overlooked himself. So I think Malins for me would be a great 15.